کسانی که امروز یا در اغتشاشات
Those who today come into the streets to take part in riots, or lead them, or support them, or assist them, in light of this explicit declaration of position by the criminal Zionist regime and likewise by the criminal President of the United States, and the issues they raised, that if anyone comes into the streets for riots or to create insecurity, or supports them, then no excuse remains for them. The matter has become very clear and transparent. They are now operating in line with the enemies of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran has reportedly sought help from foreign allies to quash escalating anti-government protests, as unrest spreads and pressure mounts on the leadership. Multiple reports claim Iran-backed Iraqi militias are now recruiting fighters to help stop the protests, suggesting the crackdown may be expanding beyond Iran's own forces. This revelation was published by Iran International in an exclusive report on January 7th, citing sources with knowledge of the alleged deployments. At least 800 Iraqi Shi'ite militiamen have reportedly been deployed across Iran to tackle the protests, adding manpower to security operations in multiple provinces. The fighters allegedly include members from Kataib Hezbollah, Harakat al-Nujaba, Sayyid al-Shahada, and the Ba'ath organization, all groups with long-standing ties to Iran. According to the report, these Iraqi fighters are entering Iran through border crossings such as Shalamcher, Chazarbe, and Khosravi, using established transit routes. The forces are said to first gather at a base linked to Khamenei's network in Avaz, and then branch out to other locations as assignments are issued. The report also claims fighters are entering Iran disguised as pilgrims heading to the shrine of Imam Reza in Mashhad, using religious travel as cover for movement. Meanwhile, protests driven by Iran's struggling economy are reportedly turning increasingly violent, with street anger rising as livelihoods deteriorate. On January 6th, protests at Tehran's Grand Bazaar escalated into direct confrontation with Iranian forces, turning a commercial hub into a flashpoint. Tear gas was fired as security units clashed with protesters in Tehran, with the confrontation spreading across nearby streets and entrances. Violence linked to the protests has reportedly killed more than 35 people, while over 1,000 have been detained so far as arrests accelerate. After separating the protesters from the rioters, we dealt with the rioters with power and force. A large number of them were arrested at the scene, and a large number of others were identified and arrested after being identified by the units of our intelligence and operational forces. I promise the people of Iran that until the very last one of these individuals, rioters, will be arrested and punished at any time and in any place. There is still time for those who were deceived by the enemy services or were deceived by the leaders of enemy services to introduce themselves and receive the grace of the Islamic Republic of Iran system. The protests continued as Iran's rial fell to a record low on January 6th, intensifying public anxiety and amplifying anger over prices and jobs. Amid tightening sanctions and the broader impact of the Israel war, Iran's rial reportedly weakened to about 1.4 million per $1 in December, underlining the scale of the crisis. Earlier, Trump warned the United States was locked and loaded to intervene if Iran's government attacked protesters, raising fears of outside escalation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also hinted at possible action while encouraging Iranian protesters, adding another layer of pressure on Tehran. Israeli media outlet Channel 12 reported that Israel's military is preparing for a multi-front war involving Iran, Hezbollah, and armed groups in the West Bank, signaling heightened regional readiness. Those who today come into the streets to take part in riots, or lead them, or support them, or assist them, in light of this explicit declaration of position by the criminal Zionist regime and likewise by the criminal President of the United States, and the issues they raised, that if anyone comes into the streets for riots or to create insecurity, or supports them, then no excuse remains for them. The matter has become very clear and transparent. They are now operating in line with the enemies of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Protest is different from rioting. In fact, we have a duty to provide security and ensure safety for those who have legitimate and lawful protests. We reassure our dear people and promise that we will confront the rioters to the very last person. We will deal with those who stand behind them to the very last individual and ensure and establish security, alongside the judiciary, our colleagues in the security fields, for the people, with the cooperation of the people.